I've always wanted to do a month-long creative challenge with video, but I never have. I've set this goal several times before, and every time I convinced myself there was no need to go on. Every time I quit. My longest streak is 13 days. Until today. This marks my longest streak for a daily creative challenge ever, and instead of telling myself that there is no need to go on, I want to track my progress and share what I've learned so far. First, upping my YouTube thumbnail game. Creating thumbnails for my YouTube videos honestly used to be the part of the process that I dreaded the most. It frustrated me so much that I could put all this effort and time and energy into making an awesome video, but if the thumbnail wasn't interesting enough, then no one would click and watch that video in the first place. I've always felt like because I don't know Photoshop, I'll never be able to make thumbnails that I'm super proud of, but look what I did. It was actually the video where I talked about doing 100 days of exercise consecutively. This is the original thumbnail I came up with for this video, and I just didn't feel excited about it. I had accomplished this huge thing of like 100 days consecutive of working on something, and this just seemed like blah. That kicked my butt to try to think of something different. So here's the before thumbnail, and then here's the after thumbnail, and I'm so freaking proud of how this came out. I love it so much, to the point where basically I try to incorporate the same look for every single thumbnail, and now creating the thumbnail is actually probably like, I wouldn't say it's my favorite part of the process, but it's definitely not a part of the process that I dread. Like, I don't dread it anymore. I look forward to it, I'm excited about it, and that's totally shifted my approach on creating thumbnails. I definitely would not have come up with that thumbnail idea if I were not, like, if I didn't do this challenge, because I would have just stuck to what I knew. 2, scripting my videos. A couple years ago, I went to VidCon and I attended a talk by these video essayists. One of the things that they showed during the talk was a clip by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the writers of South Park, where they were talking about how they write the shows. You click here to check out the full clip. It's only like, a minute long. But basically the gist is that you have beats, which are basically like the chunks in a story, but between each beat, you want to connect them using but and therefore. So this happens, but then this happens, therefore this happens. And that's how you create an interesting, compelling story. I don't think I could really digest that in a way that made sense for me at the time, because I was approaching my channel very vlog-ish, where it's really just a retelling of events. So instead of, but and therefore, I'm putting and. This happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. Which is honestly super boring, right? Like, where's the conflict? Where's the interest? There's no reason to continue the story because there's no question. Like, why does each part matter? And it was the video I talked about the difference between lead pages and Squarespace, where I started thinking about implementing this, to the point where when I was writing this script for this video, I actually broke down my video into 3 acts because I wanted to approach the video like a screenplay. I have my setup, my confrontation and resolution, and I feel like this is probably the strongest tutorial type video that I have created. I'm so proud of it. I just feel like it's so much more compelling. I really was thoughtful, not just about the content that I talk about in the middle, like, what are the differences between lead pages and Squarespace, but I'm also setting up, why this matters. Like, why does this matter? How does it pertain into my overall story? And I think it really makes a difference. I hope to continue developing this storytelling format as I continue this challenge, because I'm definitely new to it. It's still something that it's not second nature. It's definitely something where I have to, I legit have to take a piece of paper and write it this way. But there is a difference between just flipping the camera on and talking, or formatting a story where there is a question of like, why should I continue watching this video? What happens next? That is definitely the thing that I want to get better at. But the fact that I'm even applying the structure to this medium in the first place is something that I'm so excited about. Isn't it weird? Like, you hear this thing 2-3 years ago and it doesn't hit you until way later. I don't know. But see, that's the thing about applying stress to a creative situation, because you never know how your brain is going to just like pull from random seeds that have been planted, and you're gonna create something that you never otherwise would have. 3, how I do screen captures. I was actually inspired by a member in our YouTube mastermind that Tom and I run. His name is Alvin Carlos, and he has a channel where he provides financial advice. And in one of his videos, he did a screen capture that actually showed the laptop and then the screen capture within that. And I just thought that was so cool. Like it just made it look so much more dynamic. I don't think it's appropriate for every single thing. Like if I'm doing a very long-winded screen capture, I think the screen actually needs to be as big as it should be or can be. But this goes back to my lead pages in Squarespace video where I incorporated this format, and I just thought it looks so cool. Like, how cool is this? Like, doesn't it just add that extra layer? I don't know. I love it. Number 4, thinking about what is worth posting. I don't think there's a right or wrong here. I think it's gonna, be different for every single person, but I have made at least 4 videos that I am not going to post because I don't think that they're worth posting. I did a video about talking about marketing in 2016 versus 2020. Tom and I did another couch swatch fabric review because we got another round of couch swatches. I mentioned this on the couples table, but I have a vlog where Tom and I went to the dentist and then we got electric toothbrushes. Not gonna upload that. And there's a lot of other small vlogs that I kind of started but just never ended up finishing. On the other hand, yesterday's video where I felt totally crappy and just sat on my couch and held the camera and talked to it for 10 minutes, I uploaded that. A conversation that Tom and I had in the car about whether numbers matter on YouTube, it was just me holding my cell phone in the car, totally shaky. I still uploaded that. So I can't really explain like why I thought yesterday's video was worth posting versus something that I actually have edited. And the thing that I want to share with you guys is that I am getting better at making that determination in the first place. Because before it was very just like extreme. It was either everything went up or nothing went up. But now I can really get a sense of like, this is worth sharing and this isn't, and I don't have to explain why. The point is that I'm getting better at making those decisions. The way that you get better is you just practice making those decisions over and over again, which is what this creative challenge has really allowed me to do. And what does that mean going forward? I feel like every video that I decide to actually put out there is going to be better than the ones that either don't get made, don't get finished, or for whatever reason I decide is just not worth sharing. And lastly, number 5, you never know who's watching. I've always known this since day one. I remember it was the weirdest thing that back in the day when I was still new to this entire world, I would get messages and emails and DMs from random people who, were really impacted by the content I was making, and for some reason did not feel comfortable writing a comment on the video, publicly for everyone to see. They decided that they wanted to send me a message privately. I've gotten great messages, inspiring messages, really annoying messages. Just by doing this challenge, I'm reminded again of I never know how my content will make an impact. My hope is always, right? My hope is always that the impact is positive. Otherwise, I would not be doing this at all. My mission, my personal mission at the end of the day is to make a positive impact. But I don't consciously make videos oh yeah, this is gonna be the most inspiring thing ever. And I can't wait for everyone to be positively impacted by watching my video. But there are so many little signs and cues, in addition to the comments and messages that I get, that I have a good sense that I am making a positive impact. And it's just I just really wanted to make a point to say that out loud, say this in this video, because I'm always gonna question whether, you know, like, what's the point of everything? So I want to remind myself, like, there is a point. But then also too, if you are feeling like, what's the point? If you're a content creator and you're not sure if your story is worth sharing or any of those things, I just want to remind you that, like, not only are there a lot of people who do not want to share how a piece of content has impacted them publicly on YouTube, maybe they'll go out of their way to send you a private message, but there's also so many people who don't do either, even though your content has made a positive impact. I think it's still a big leap for people. I think for some people, you know, I know for a fact that I have people who watch every single one of my videos and have never left a comment for whatever reason, and that's fine, but I know they're there. I know you're there. And I think that goes for everybody. I think, like, even if it's 5 views, 10 views, 5 downloads, 10 listens, whatever, that's still someone who had to consume your content and is now having thoughts that they would not have had if not for your content. And whether they are now motivated or now inspired or now looking at things from a different perspective, like, you don't know that impact, and that impact cannot be measured in the number of subscribers or views or watch time or any of these other metrics that we are inundated with. You don't need volume of people to make a voluminous impact. I don't know if I like that. Now, the takeaway. I think when it comes to any challenge or any goal you set for yourself, you can find evidence to either quit or continue at any point. I could have easily made a video where I was saying, all right guys, like, this is the longest I've ever gone with the daily uploads, and I'm just gonna leave it at that because I've learned everything that I'm sharing in this video. There is no need to continue. But instead I made this video, the video that you've watched. And I think the reason why I've never successfully accomplished a month-long daily challenge like this is because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. This time I'm truly doing this challenge to level up my skills as a creator, and I can honestly say that I have done that and I'm still doing that, which is why it's worth continuing. I think before I didn't have a compelling enough reason why, which is why things that came up often, you know, they can seem more important than continuing with a streak. If you're deciding whether to continue or not, don't just focus on the negatives, like, focus on your progress. What have you learned? How have you grown? And does what you have achieved thus far fall in line with the priority and the reason why you embarked on the challenge in the first place? For me, the answer is easy. Hell to the yes. So I'm going to continue. Although the second half of this challenge is going to be very interesting. Now, if you're still watching this video and you've watched all the videos in this challenge, I'd love to know what has been your favorite video and why. Let me know in the comments. And with that said, I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye. How's that?
Okay, I think that was cool.